This is the appointed time. We have a quorum, so I call this meeting to order. Item 1. Regulatory regime for Chinese herbal medicines and proprietary Chinese medicines, development of the industry, global trade, facilitation measures, and global promotion of standards and testing technologies. Let me invite the administration to come in. We have 3 items on the agenda today. They are all related, so I will exercise my discretion and allow questions related to the other 2 agenda items. The Secretariat had received 1 submission before today's meeting. They have been forwarded to members. And members, if you want to speak, please press the Request to Speak button. Let me now invite the administration to come in. Today we're joined by Undersecretary for Health, Dr. Cecilia Fan, Dr. Vincent Chung, Commissioner for Chinese Medicine Development, Mr. Gary Chow, Assistant Commissioner from the Health Bureau, and also Mr. Robert Law, Chief Pharmacist, and Mr. Gary Chow, Dr. Ng Chi Sun, and Ms. Emily Chow, Assistant Commissioner. I will now invite Undersecretary to walk us through the paper. Chairman, members, this is the 3rd meeting of the Subcommittee on Matters relating to the development of Chinese medicine. At the last meeting, we focused on discussing Chinese medicine services, and today we will discuss the medication. So the first item relates to the regulatory regime for Chinese HM and PCM's development of the industry, global trade facilitation measures, as well as promotion of standards and testing technologies. We'll also be discussing the GCMTI as well as implementation of the GMP guidelines. Now, since implementation of the Chinese Medicine Ordinance, we have set up a robust regulatory regime for TCMs to ensure the quality and safety of the medicine to safeguard public health. And for the registration regime, we have just entered the transitional period. And that means all PCMs available are now properly registered, and we have reached a new stage. We are going to set up the Hong Kong Center for Medical Products Regulation. In order to promote the regulatory regime, we will also continue to review the relevant legislation to enhance the quality of Chinese medicine. The government attaches importance to the development of the industry. Tertiary institutions in Hong Kong have continued to be the cradle of talents for Chinese medicine. As mentioned in the blueprint, we have 2 flagship facilities. The CMMHK, as well that is the Chinese Medicine Hospital of Hong Kong, as well as the Government Chinese Medicines Testing Institutes, GCMTI. They will provide a drive for R&D and standard setting for the Chinese medicine. The government will continue to make use of the development fund to enhance the service level of the industry. On the trade promotion, the country's 15th five-year plan promotes technological innovation of Chinese medicine. We will also continue to enhance the quality and quantity of Chinese medicine. This is a proactive government. We will continue to take forward the objective of developing Hong Kong into an international medical innovation hub, and that means we will make use of the GBA International Clinical Trial Center in the Shenzhen Park to provide a quality platform for products in Hong Kong to go global. The NMPA has also streamlined approval procedures for Hong Kong and Macau registered PCMs to register in the mainland so that quality PCMs can tap the mainland market. As for promotion of Chinese medicine standards and testing technologies, we will continue to rely on the Hong Kong Chinese Material Medical Standards, which establishes safety and quality standards, and we will also promote international exchanges and the setting of standards for the global community, and that Hong Kong will be the window for the mainland to connect to the world. For the details, please refer to the papers. We'll be happy to take questions from members. Thank you. 6 members have signed up to speak. Let me read out their names. Champion Leung, Kingsley Wong, Chilap Wai, Reverend Douglas, Peter Douglas Poon, Dennis Leung, myself, Thomas So. I will give each member 4 minutes questions and answers. Let's start with Mr. Champion Leung. Thank you, Chairman. Paragraph 2 of the paper refers to 265 PCM manufacturers. Only 21 of them have been issued a certificate for manufacturer. That's less than 10%. So my question is about the reason for this low percentage of manufacturers haven't been issued the certificate for manufacturers. And is there a way for the government to provide technical support or financial support to help manufacturers upgrade and transform themselves? Because as we know, if we want Hong Kong PCMs to tap the global market according to the blueprint, we need to make sure that they reach the GMP standards. So with the lack of certificate pose an obstacle. And about paragraph 14, it is also said that the NMPA has streamlined approval procedures for Hong Kong registered PCMs to register in the mainland, and that's for oral use as well. Are there measures to help the industry? And also, according to the paper, the power will be delegated to the CMB, and that's the Chinese Medicine Board, by the Director of Health, and that it will transform from an advisory role to a supervisory role. How does the government ensure that there will be sufficient representation of the industry in the CMPR so as to make sure that Chinese medicines will be regulated in a manner that is suitable for its unique characteristics, rather than only relying on the framework drawn up applicable to Western medicine? Under Secretary. Thank you. Let me just explain the first point, and then I'll give the floor to the Department of Health. The member mentioned 265 PCM manufacturers. 21 of them have been issued a certificate for manufacturer. That means 244 of these manufacturers have not been issued a certificate. These are small to medium-sized manufacturers. They are working on a limited scale. They have usually fewer than 100 employees. As for their factories, they again are on the scale of 50 square meters. Of course, there are also larger ones, up to 1,000 square meters. The government has been helping the industry upgrade and transform. There are different ways, such as administrative facilitation and funding support. We also keep in liaison with the industry. On a regular basis, we also hold seminars to explain different things, such as the guidelines on good manufacturing practices drawn up with the Pharmacy and Poisons Board. They provide guidelines on the manufacturing of PCMs. So we explain the technical and training requirements to the industry. We also invite those with certificates to share their GMP experience with industry. We also have a bulletin. We send newsletters to the manufacturers to explain the GMP requirements. As for funding support, we have a Chinese Medicine Development Fund to provide subsidies. I will now give the floor to the Department of Health to give you more details. About the GMP guidelines, we encourage manufacturers to adopt GMP on a voluntary basis. Now, we've been told by some SMEs that they run into problems in following the GMPs. Over the years, we have been talking to the industry to learn about their difficulties. There are 4 major problems. First, factory. Second, fund. And the third and the fourth relate to quality assurance as well as talent, and that's training. We have done a lot to enhance the industry's knowledge. On a quarterly basis, we hold seminars to provide support to the industry on matters relating to GMP. We also have a GMP online platform so that the industry will be prepared with the necessary documentation to apply for the GMP certificates. Under the Development Fund, there are different kinds of support for, say, equipment factory, talents, etc. Thank you, Chair. Next, Mr. Kingsley Wong. I have 2 questions. One relates to the talents for Chinese medicines. Well, we have Chinese medicine practitioners, but in terms of Chinese medicine pharmacists, it seems that there is a lack of statutory registration framework and professional qualification recognition mechanism. Now, this is something that I have been talking to the industry. This is not conducive to the career development of the pharmacist. In fact, according to paragraph 11 of the paper, the Baptist University started a course in 2001, and since then, there are similar courses run by CUHK and Hong Kong U, or Metropolitan University. So my question is that there should be a statutory registration mechanism for Chinese medicine pharmacists, so that more quality jobs can be offered to our young people, because AI cannot replace Chinese medicine pharmacists. And my next question relates to paragraph 18, and that is, for the HKCMMS, there are now 12 volumes covering 357 types of CHMs, but I understand from the Chinese pharmacopoeia, altogether there are over 30,000 types of CHMs. So if we want to promote Chinese medicines to the world, to modernize and internationalize the industry, I want to know whether we have a timetable or a roadmap to do so.
Thank you for your question. So you have 2 questions in relation to talent and also to the HKCMMS. In terms of talent, as I said earlier, starting from 2001, the Baptist University has already started providing professional training courses on CMs, followed by the Chinese University of Hong Kong, University of Hong Kong, and Metropolitan University. It will help us to cultivate talents for CMs. You asked whether we are going to set up a system for CM pharmacists. We respect a principle that it is necessary to develop develop core competencies, and we also want to promote the development. Therefore, in the blueprint, we said that we are going to support the sector in cultivating talents. Given that there is a lot of different sectors within the CM industry, the core competency has not yet been specified. In future, during consultation with the sector, we are going to set up task forces to meet with stakeholders to try to create a synergy to promote the professional work. And now I'd like to invite the Commissioner to tell us how we are going to further such development. Thank you. We have already listed this out in the blueprint in 6.2. Under the blueprint, we said that through the Professional Development Fund, we are going to look at the core competencies of CMs. CM industry is very broad. In terms of regulation, there is CHMs, there are PCMs. We hope to look into further research and development, and there's also work related to overseas development. Since this sector is so broad, we have to look into the core competencies of each different sector to look at the requirements and turn to the support the sector to see what the next step should be. Therefore, the fund will be supporting the sector to first look at the professional requirements and competencies of each sector, and then we are going to help them create a mechanism in training so that they're going to develop with time and then go towards more professional development. And in terms of regulation, we've always adopted a risk-oriented approach to make sure that when we're distributing CHMs or PCMs, what we should be regulating and which model is most suitable. And we're going to, in accordance with their development, when the sector becomes more mature, we will further liaise with them to see how we can further our development. Thank you. Next to Mr. Chu Lapway. Oh, do you have a follow-up question? Oh, my question has not been answered on the HKCMMS. Perhaps I'll take this briefly. The setting up of the HKCMMS is to set up a evidence-based safety standard. It is different from the national pharmacopoeia. For HKCMMS, we want it to be a higher standard. So when it meets the standard of HKCMMS, it's much like achieving an A grade, so that Hong Kong CM industry can then move towards the international arena. The standard for HKCMMS is under an international expert committee. There's a lot of scientific research. Most of our work will be focused on the commonly used CHMs in Hong Kong. The 12 volume is not the end. We are continuing our work. Every year or every 18 months, we would look at 16 types of CHMs, and we would listen to expert advice on how to select these Chinese medicines. Thank you. Mr. Chu Lapway. Thank you, Chairman. To enhance a CM standard and position, and we must have a very good regulatory framework, and therefore I support this paper, and I see that work has been done comprehensively. But I notice that a lot of the regulation is on retail industry. However, recently, we see that there is a lot of sales via online platforms. And very often, it is stated that these Chinese medicines are all natural and mislead the public in saying that these are all herbs. I want to understand what the authorities have been doing to target these drug sales and whether there is any way to ensure that those non-herbal drugs could be taken off the market. Thank you, Mr. Chu. The Department of Health has a monitoring framework, and we would conduct a safety assessment. We would then sample test some of the Chinese medicines in the market. The DH will, according to the safety risk, monitor websites. If there are some banned CMs or prohibited CHMs being sold, we would take action, and the public can also lodge complaints. We would enhance our monitoring. I can ask the DH to supplement. But when there is a suspicion of the selling of these unregistered BCMs, then the DH will work together with different departments to take law enforcement. Thank you. DH also conducts online inspection in addition to our usual inspection. We would choose some of the major platforms to conduct monitoring to see whether there are sales of unregistered CHMs and also those in our schedule of CMs. We would also look at recently prohibited CHMs or recently unregistered CHMs and conduct inspection. On average, we would inspect about 66,000 products annually to see whether those are unregistered products or products listed in Schedule 1. When we find unregistered Chinese herbal medicines being sold, we would first notify the platform to take it off the market. We would then take follow-up action. We would also take disciplinary action when necessary. Thank you. Next, Reverend Peter Kuhn. Thank you, Chairman. I also want to follow up on one of the questions raised by Mr. Chen Pulong. That the authority of CMB will become more as a consultant role. Are there enough experts in the CMPR to ensure that the voice of a Chinese medicine sector could be heard? Maybe Mr. Law could take this question. Thank you for your question. Well, on this changing in role, we have already consulted the sector, and I can tell members that even though the vetting role has become a consultant role, the number of members, including members from the industry, remain the same. The number of CM experts remain the same. and this can fully reflect the sector's attitude towards the regulation of Chinese traditional medicine. And this can really help us work on a plan in regulation. Thank you. Mr. Dennis Leung. Thank you, Chairman. As a member of the general public, we are most concerned with the safety of CHMs. There are around 5,000 kinds of CHMs in the market. In the past, we didn't pay much attention to the quality and origin of the CHMs, but with the HKCMMS, how can we enhance the standards? Can we use HKCMMS to know that the origin of the CHMs is safe and that there are not any heavy metals in the medicines? Secondly, there are a lot of supplementary or health supplementary products with CHMs within the product. How do you monitor these? Because these are defined as health products. How can we ensure that it provides a peace of mind to the public? And thirdly, of course, we want to ensure and protect the rights of the public. So when the public buys low quality products or fake products, what is some of the protection we can have for consumer rights? For HKCMMS, I would defer to Dr. Mack, but I can first answer the other questions. Our regulation is on Chinese medicine. Therefore, we are very clear with the definition and standards. We have plans to make changes to the definition, but as of now, a product sold in the market, when they say that they are supplementary products or health products and then actually not defined as PCMs, then it will be regulated under other legislation, including the Pharmacy and Poisons Ordinance, or so we would have different products or ordinances to regulate these. The DH has a mechanism to monitor these products. As for the regulation of CHMs, we adopt a risk-based approach. There is a three-tier structure. First of all, on poisonous CHMs or with high toxicity, these could not be sold in the market. And then the second category is sort of with medicinal properties, and those would need to be prescribed by Chinese medicine practitioners. The third category is commonly used CHMs, and these would be sold in registered places. And actually, we do take a lot of seasonal soups or herbal drinks, and these would actually appear in the market under food products and not regulated by our framework. So that would go through the public health and municipal ordinances, and it must ensure, and they must be ensured that these could be suitable for intake. Well, I think you're asking about the origin of the medicines. Perhaps you can tell us more about the origin, and also on the 7+1, those not considered under PCMs.
In relation to the Chinese medicines in the schedule, regardless of the origin, they must meet the standards set by us. That means they must fulfill the safety standards set by the CMCHK, and this is also the responsibility of the retailers and wholesalers of Chinese medicines. They are obliged to fulfill the requirements. We conduct inspections. In fact, every year we would take over 800 samples of Chinese medicines available in the market for testing. In the past year, we found that among 8 samples, the residual limits of the veterinary drug has been reached, and we do have a regulatory unit under the CMCHK responsible for these matters to ensure safety of Chinese medicines in the schedule. Dr. Thomas So. Thank you, Chair. I support what's set out in the paper, and that is for Chinese herbal medicines and PCMs, they should be regulated in a more effective manner. I also support promoting the HKCMMS to the world, and I have 2 questions. First, to pick up on what Mr. Kingsley Wong said, I want to know if the government intends to make Chinese medicines pharmacists a profession, because Chinese medicine practitioners can dispense medication, whereas for Western medicine in many countries, clinical consultation and the dispensary of drugs are 2 different disciplines. So would it be premature to suggest setting up a new profession called CM pharmacist? I understand that the CMPR and the GCMTI will be set up. Does it mean that there will be separate regulation regimes for practitioners as well as for Chinese medicines? I want to know whether the administration has formed any preliminary views on promoting global trading of PCMs. I support the idea, and I have looked at these figures. I understand that we do export PCMs as well. Are there data available to tell us which are the popular markets of export? Because these will help us with the efforts in promoting PCMs in the future. The member asked 2 questions. That is about the Chinese medicine pharmacists, CMPR, and export of Chinese medicine. Let me first explain the last point. In the past few years, in fact, in the past 4 years, and I'm referring to data from year 2021 to 2024, the export of Chinese medicine was worth $2.4 to $3.1 billion. As for the distribution of the export markets in 2024, 70% of Chinese medicines were exported to the mainland, 20% to Macau, and about 9% to ASEAN countries and other places. Now about CM pharmacists. In due course, we will consult the industry, and we will also set up a task force to gauge the professional requirements But let me share with you, with the support of our country, the Health Bureau and the NMPA held have held a series of training programs for CM talents starting from 2023 to support the development of CM in Hong Kong as well as the CMHHK. And let me share with you some of the programs covered: the decoction, preparation, technologies, quality control, development of new medicines, etc. 260 students were enrolled, comprising 57 in-service practitioners of the industry. We take a two-pronged approach. We groom local talents, and we also help improve the professional autonomy of the sector. On CMPR, the purpose of setting up the Hong Kong Center for Medical Products Regulation is to put up a centralized unit for the regulation of both Chinese and Western medicine as well as their medical devices. Well, I think Dr. So would like to know more about the functions and the supervision on the dispensary of Chinese medicine, as well as the function of CM pharmacists to ensure quality and safety. So can you tell us more about this? Right, I'll give the floor to the Department of Health. CM retailers must obtain a license from the CMCHK, and that if the retailer is involved in dispensary of Chinese medicines, there must be a responsible person appointed with 2 deputies. And for this responsible person, we put in place requirements on their academic qualifications to ensure that the Chinese medicines will be dispensed in a safe manner. Well, of course, I am in the know, but I think many members would like to know the following, and that is they would like to know the basic requirements for a CM pharmacist. Say, how many years of experience must one have, whether there is a register, because I think members are concerned about their functions of dispensing CMs, so they'd like to know the qualifications requirement. I think that's Dr. So's question. Thank you, Chair. It's a multi-tier framework that comes with different levels of qualifications. Say, if this individual has completed a bachelor's degree in Chinese medicine together with suitable work experience, then this person can be appointed as the responsible person. Or if this person does not have a bachelor's degree but rather has completed a diploma's program, then there may be a higher work experience requirement. Or maybe it's just a certificate course. Or this responsible person may not have any academic qualifications relating to Chinese medicine, but then there will be other qualifications requirements as well. This mechanism has been in place for some time. In light of the industry situation, we allow multiple avenues. For example, for somebody who are not academically qualified but who are the veterans in the industry, who have, for example, over 5 years of experience in dispensing CMs, then they can be appointed as responsible persons as well. In the blueprint, there are requirements in relation to the qualifications of even CM retailers. And in this regulatory regime, we will conduct a comprehensive review to see if there is any room for enhancement. Does it mean that in relation to the qualification requirements for the GMP factories and the pharmacists, so to speak, the same applies? Thank you for the question. Now, for the operation of a GMP factory, things are more complicated. We do have higher requirements for the professionals. According to the CMCHK, there are two important positions in the GMP factory, and that is quality assurance as well as a manufacturing position. For these two positions, we want the position holders to be graduates of Chinese medicine courses, and they must also have the relevant work experience, and that is on quality control and manufacturing of PCMs. On the contrary, for retailers, the core function is on dispensing CMs. So in light of the industry situation, we impose other kinds of qualifications requirements. But on the whole, for GMP requirements, they're definitely at the upper tier. I think members would like to know the following. That is the so-called nominees. You mentioned that whether you have a bachelor's degree or otherwise, or even if you don't have any qualifications, but with 5 years of experience, you can be the dispensing staff, and that you need to be nominated by another party, such as the factory or the manufacturer or the retailer. This is the question often asked by members. I suppose this is also the question coming from Dr. So. Registration is the basic requirement. For CM retailers and PCM manufacturer, the same qualification requirements apply. So I think Dr. So's question has been answered. That is to say, they need to follow the same qualifications requirement. Either you have a bachelor's degree or a PhD, or you have a lot of experience but not academically qualified. As long as you obtain a nomination, you can then apply with a CMCHK to run a factory or a shop. Next, Mr. Peter Shiu. Chinese herbal medicines and PCMs. These are the highlights of the country's 15th five-year plan. We enjoy advantages. We also have some good formulas passed down from generation to generation in Hong Kong. Some local PCMs are welcomed by tourists. They are popular. But when it comes to global trading, I think that at least we need to follow the GMP guidelines. Many members have asked questions about GMP factories. If the factory cannot meet the GMP standards, then it's impossible to produce products that meet the standards. So there are 200 to 300 factories that have yet to meet the GMP requirements due to four major reasons. I think money is, of course, the most important factor. The manufacturers can apply for GMP on a voluntary basis, but then you need to do more to help them, especially on financial support, because we're talking about a $2.2 billion market in the mainland, and 70% of our products are exported to the mainland, and only 9% exported to other countries. So when we discuss exporting our products to the world, you need to resolve the GMP issue, because there are Chinese around the world. They are fond of our products, and this is an important industry. So I think this is the highlight of today's discussion. And about the 7+1 nutrition labeling, as asked by members, we've been discussing this for many years in this council. I don't think it's a bad idea to impose 7+1, but for example, you may have PCM that is 99% similar in ingredients with a food product, only that for the last percentage, this food product has added a drop of lemon juice to make it a food product instead of a medicine. And that with nice packaging, you can just sell it as PCM de facto. So this is unfair to the proper manufacturers. I think that we have been discussing the 7+1 labeling for many years, and I've been told by the industry that some manufacturers have stolen their formula and added the drop of lemon juice to make it a food product. This can greatly lower the cost of manufacturing. This is also their concern as they're eating into their market.
Undersecretary, thank you, Mr. Xiu. Let me try to answer your question on 7+1 product. Well, in order to plug the current loophole, the blueprint is trying to optimize the framework, and this is actually one of the most important things we're going to focus on. So the government will better define as Chinese herbal medicines and proprietary Chinese medicines, and we are going to do this as soon as possible. As for GMP, well, we have mentioned some requirements just now. We hope to support the Hong Kong Chinese medicine sector in achieving GMP. In recent years, we have suggested the adoption of the PICS GMP, and all along, the DH has been via different channels discussing this with the sector to collect their views. As of 2026, we have already held about 68 briefings and met with the relevant sectors to try to discuss this more. And there are some focus points. One is on the location of the factory, second on funding, and thirdly on testing technology, and fourth is on training. The DH has given many concrete suggestions to the sector. And in our website, we do have a GMP platform to provide all the information needed. We are also providing support through the professional fund, and we hope to help them to achieve the GMP. For more information, the Commissioner can explain further. Thank you, Chairman. The Professional Development Fund focuses on supporting the Chinese medicine sector. There is an A2 plan which is to enhance the standards, which is to help the PCMs manufacturer in Hong Kong, especially those who have achieved the GMP. But we also support those who have not yet achieved the GMP as well. The A2 plan is to have consultants to help them. Let's say some manufacturers want to be issued the GMP, and they can have our consultants assess the gap between achieving and not achieving the GMP, and then they would know how much money to invest in achieving the GMP status. And once they know that, they can then set up the GMP system. and we would also support them in also purchasing hardware in achieving this status. As of end of May this year, we have already approved 92 applications and have approved over 7 million Hong Kong dollars in funding. We will continue to review and monitor this project to continue to watch the industry's reaction and then to do minor adjustments to help them in a timely manner. And under this A2 plan, many of the applicants actually have not yet been issued their GMP certificate, and they hope to achieve that. We will continue to see how we can optimize the A2 project. Thank you. I know that the Chinese Medicine Board has also done a lot in this aspect, but we're still only talking about 7 million in funding. Well, to ensure that a drug or medicine can become successful, it needs a lot of investment. Look at how much investment is put in Western medicine. We do also have a venture capital fund. Perhaps we can also help support many of those pharmaceutical factories in Hong Kong. Maybe by that time the government can also actively participate. I'm sure that if the industry is willing to invest more, then we would see more success. So out of these applications, how many have been approved? There are a few different plans under A2. We have approved around 7.6 million approximately. So you're still talking about giving 1 million or so to each company. Yes, that's about the median. Well, actually, 1 million is not much. We understand. We are going to do this in phases to see how we can better support the industry. Upcoming, when we conduct further consultation, we'll see how we can amend CAP 549 and then to see what difficulties the factories are facing. And we will discuss this in our future consultations. Currently, there is a cap, but then we would still need to consider the individual applications. Well, we want to know, how much the investments could be, or the cap for each investment. The maximum limit for the GMP basic assessment, the amount is around 30,000, but for a consultancy service for GMP, then the cap is at 200,000. For hardware support, the cap would be 600,000, and we would continue to review this. I ask this question because we can't wait till legislation. We want to promote Chinese medicine to go global. And if you do not provide support to them, then it's really too slow. The process would be too slow and you're not investing enough. Because 1 million, 2 million, or 3 million, that's really nothing. It's not enough. Can you, as Mr. Xu said, allow them to apply for different funding at the same time? Can you try to allow more allowance to actually allow the manufacturers to apply for different funds at the same time? Thank you. Ms. Jenny Mann. Thank you, Chairman. In paragraph 13 of the paper, it said that starting in January 2025, there's an expanded in the scope of the streamlined approval procedures to cover traditional PCMs for oral use. In Hong Kong, there are over 8,300 registered PCMs, and not many have been approved for oral use. Do you know the total number in applications, and can you tell us why those approved for external use are so low. The government also provides a one-stop support, but then it's still only limited to basic a Q&A. Can you provide more support to help the Hong Kong PCM's factories to go global? Undersecretary, thank you for your question. Currently, there are 265 PCM manufacturers, and 21 of them have achieved the GMP status. For PCMs for external use, it needs about 5 years or above, and we'll talk about 2,800 models. But for those that have been used in Hong Kong for over 15 years and approved for oral use, and they're about 300. However, PCM manufacturers will, in accordance with their own business model and market demand, to adjust their own market and how they want to tap into the mainland market. According to the blueprint, we have proposed to strengthen our goals, and we are going to take this by phases to ensure that we can expand the scope in the approval procedures. And so we are going to work towards this goal together with the industry. Next, Ms. Chen Ho-yen. Thank you, Chairman. The administration has continued to talk about the blueprint in terms of Western medicine. As long as there's a Western drug in the Western medicine, then it would be considered Western medicine. But then it's different for PCMs and CHMs, because there may be some unscrupulous traders or manufacturers who would add in some food to make sure that the drug will be defined as a food product and not as a PCM. The administration said that in future you would look into how you can plug the loophole in this gray area. But then it will then touch upon some health supplements in the market. Well, we want to tighten the definition of PCM, but when we do that, do you know the volume of products that we are talking about? Have you conducted a research to see how many products have actually gone around the PCM definition and being sold on the market? Many products are actually being defined under different food products. But with the tightening of legislation, would you also tighten the definition of health supplement? Because people are worried that it might affect the health supplement market. Do you know what the impact or changes it will bring to the health supplement market? You're looking at the history of Chinese herbal medicines. It has taken us 2 decades to make changes because there have been a lot of difficulties along the way. Once we tighten the legislation, what is the support you can provide more to the industry? Why does it take so many years to amend this regulatory regime?
Thank you. For details, I'll give the floor to the Department of Health. They will explain to you what they've learned from the market. That is in relation to supplements and other products under this definition. But let me very briefly explain that when it comes to the definition of Chinese medicines, we will expand the scope. That is in relation to the formation of the decoction or products with claims of having any medical efficacy. That is when normal citizens would not take this product as a food product, but rather as Chinese medicine, then it will be regulated under the CMO. Now I will give the floor to my colleague to tell you more about our liaison work with the industry. Thank you, Chair. Thank you, members. We have been observing the development of the market, and we understand that there are the so-called shadow PCMs or the so-called 7+1 products, and they are flourishing. So we propose to amend the definition of PCM. Rather than adopting the current definition, which means any product containing containing solely Chinese medicines, we will adopt a definition that is wider in scope. That is, if this product has stronger medical efficacy and side effects of Chinese medicine, it can be defined as a Chinese medicine. So what is meant by products with greater medical efficacy, and what is meant by traditional PCMs? In fact, earlier we conducted consultation with the industry and we received over 300 submissions. They have diverse views on what should be regarded as PCMs or traditional Chinese medicine decoctions. So we will conduct another round of consultation. After we clarify the position of PCMs and decoctions, we will conduct a market survey to gauge the number of products currently available in the market. I want to ask a follow-up question, because as of the 31st of May this year, we have 8,375 registered PCMs in Hong Kong. But like the administration just explained, in the market, there's now a lot of other products in the gray area that may cause harm to public health, and that we need to amend the law. You mentioned PCMs with greater medical efficacy. In fact, there are such products available in the market already, and that these products may affect public health. So how should we go about it? If these products are already available in the market and causing harm to public health, then what should be done before we amend the law? Now, yes, there are products available in the market. Under the current definition, these are not PCM products. However, they are still regulated by the laws of Hong Kong. We need to make sure, for example, that these products are safe for human consumption or use, only that they are not regulated under the CMO. They may be regulated under the PHNMS ordinance or the Trade Descriptions Ordinance. We understand members' concerns. We do not have any concrete figure at hand as to how many such products are available in the market. But this is our plan, that we will follow up on this matter and proceed with legislative amendments. About counterfeit PCMs or lookalike PCMs, this is definitely not we want. So for the Department of Health, we leverage multiple channels to educate the public about genuine PCMs. For example, the genuine products should come with a HKC serial number, and during peak travel seasons, we also strengthen our publicity. We also mount joint operations with the Customs and Excise to enhance our law enforcement effort. We also maintain close liaison with the Consumer Council to handle complaints or receive intelligence. So we will still make use of the existing legal framework and the regulatory regime to safeguard public health. I think I understand Ms. Chan's question. Indeed, there are products available in the market with strong toxicity. They may make use of some traditional formula, and then they add grape seed, and then they claim to be a supplement with 7+1 labeling. They come with nice packaging. They're sold at a high price. But then, in fact, this product contains something that is highly toxic, and that the ignorant citizen might buy this supplement and take this supplement, and if something goes wrong, then who should be responsible? This is something that we have been following up on. I'll give the floor to my colleague to speak on this matter. Thank you. The Department of Health has been very concerned about the counterfeit PCMs, especially for products that claim to treat serious illnesses such as stroke. And this is a grave matter. We will invoke different pieces of legislation to deal with the matter. For example, the Pharmacy and Poisons Ordinance. For products that have claims to treat a certain illness, we are going to invoke the legislation, that is, will prosecute the offender for the offense of selling an unregistered pharmaceutical product. And we've successfully initiated prosecution before, because there are claims that, for example, this product could cure meningitis or other serious illness, stroke, for example, and we've successfully convicted the offender. And this is what the Department of Health will continue to do to safeguard public health. Dr. Hui Li. Thank you, Chairman. I must acknowledge the government's efforts in promoting the development of Chinese medicines and the industry in recent years. I acknowledge the government's efforts. Now, today we are here to discuss the regulatory regime and promotion. These two come as a pair. When it comes to global trading of TCMs or PCMs, we need to have a trading platform. Is there a plan, or what kind of support will the government give? On promoting global trading, will you focus on particular markets? For example, there are many Chinese medicine manufacturers in Japan. Many SMEs may have pain points on, say, procuring the ingredients for manufacturing PCMs. So will you focus on these markets when you mount publicity? The second point is to follow up on Ms. Rebecca Chan's question. I think the regulatory framework for PCMs is rather limited, because we have been neglecting this important point of Chinese medicines and food sharing the same source. So when we regulate PCMs, inevitably we must touch upon the food issue, that is, some of the food products may be used as a supplement or as medication for treatment. We need to be clear about this special characteristic of Chinese medicines, or else it will be very difficult to resolve this problem. Let me give you this example. In Chinese societies, we have a lot of foods that also have medicinal use. So can we enhance the dissemination of information to avoid public health incidents? And I need to declare that I am an office holder of the Chinese medicines industrial chain Hong Kong Center. Undersecretary, I will give the floor to the Department of Health to explain one of the points, but let me first explain our promotion efforts. This is where Hong Kong stands. Under one country, two systems, we maintain close liaison with the mainland. We also have highly internationalized legal system and the financial system and the trading system. We are one of the freest economies in the world. We have free flow of talents, information, capital. We have a simple and low tax regime. These are factors that help us create a favorable environment for global trading. Now, on Chinese medicines, the regulatory regime is of utmost importance because the regime can ensure quality and safety. So as I said, there is a registration mechanism for PCMs. And the regulatory regime for Chinese medicine as a whole is widely recognized by the world. So according to the blueprint, we need to enhance quality management of Chinese medicines. And this is something we have been talking about, and that's GMP. We will amend the legislation, impose the registration requirement for Chinese medicines. We will also promote GMP so as to enhance the industry's competitiveness. As mentioned, in the mainland and ASEAN countries, they have fully implemented GMP as well. We've streamlined the approval procedure for Hong Kong, Macau registered PCMs to be registered in the mainland. These measures can help promote industrial development. We will continue to leverage on the CM Development Fund to provide technical and financial support. The Commissioner just mentioned GMP subsidy program. Under the fund, we have different funding support for training of talents, logistics management. All these will strive to make registered PCMs in Hong Kong the brand for high quality products, and this will be the major driving force for us to tap the global market. The Department of Health would like to supplement. We take a risk-based approach in regulating PCMs in Hong Kong. If this PCM is of high toxicity, then it will come under Schedule 1. And if it's of a strong medicinal efficacy, then it comes under Schedule 2. Now, of course, PCMs are closely related to people's daily lives as well, because Chinese medicines and food often share the same source, and they will be regulated under other pieces of legislation, such as the Public Health and Municipal Services Ordinance. So that even if this product is regulated as a food product, it will be fit for human consumption. If there are claims that this product can treat certain illnesses, then this product will be regulated under the Pharmacy and Poisons Ordinance. We also mount public education. That is, we educate the public about some PCMs, that avoid taking them in excessive quantities.
I understand the regulation. I just have a suggestion that, as Dr. Max said, the safe use of medicine, I hope that you will provide more information to the public so that they will know that certain medicines are more dangerous or toxic and what kind of effects they are. This is just a suggestion. Thank you, Chairman. Well, some are defined as food product. Currently, we do not have a list of what kind of medicines could be seen as food. Well, there is no such list yet. For certain medicines, we would state that some must be prescribed by Chinese medicine practitioners. Some are stronger medicines and therefore must be purchased via Chinese medicine practitioners. I'm sorry, Dr. Mack. I just want to clarify one thing. You said that some are food with medicinal effects, but you say there is no such list. You need to clarify it. Otherwise, it might mislead the public. First of all, some of the medicines must be prescribed by Chinese medicine practitioners. I think you must be clear that all Chinese medicines must be prescribed by practitioners. This is required by law. Because we don't want to mislead the public in that some drugs can be prescribed by anyone. You must clarify that all Chinese medicines must be registered as listed Chinese medicine practitioners before they can be prescribed. You must make this clear. You don't want to mislead the public because they can just use recording to bring it up to court. Then what should you do then? First of all, on Chinese medicine practitioners. Practice can only be exercised by registered medicine practitioners. Yes, I just want to be clear that all CHMs must be prescribed by a registered Chinese medicine practitioner, including Buckey and Dongsum. Otherwise, anyone could prescribe such ingredients. Well, first of all, it's the formula. If it is listed under Schedule 1, it must be prescribed by a Chinese medicine practitioner. But for those listed in Schedule 2, then it does not necessarily mean to be prescribed by a registered practitioner. Well, can just anyone just ask for medicines under Schedule 2? Well, those are not in the list. You must make this clear. You must clarify it. Otherwise, you have to rewrite the legislation. You have to make it clear that unless you are a registered Chinese medicine practitioner, you cannot prescribe these registered medicines. Because you cannot just dispense Chinese medicine without a prescription. Otherwise, you would just create something called a sort of seasonal soup. Otherwise, there would be many people practicing medicine after today. Well, only a practitioner can practice medicine. Well, all right, let's say, okay, I'll ask as a practitioner to just write me a prescription. I can just take the prescription to ask for medicine. So the pharmacist would then give the medicine. Do you think my question is correct? You're a lawyer. We have to make this clear. Can I tell the public that, I do not have a list on food with medicinal effects. It can be prescribed to anyone. Well, so if you're writing a formula, then you fall into the chance of practicing medicine. Well, yes, it might just be a concoction for soup, but then there must be some sort of regulation if you are asking for registered medicines. Well, yes, some of the retailers may actually be selling soup concoctions. Well, yes, we have to make this clear. We're now at the Legislative Council. If you do not make this clear, we may fall into a loophole. I just want to make this clear because you don't want to fall into a trap. We have to make this clear that anyone who's unless you're a Chinese medicine practitioner, you should not be prescribing registered Chinese herbal medicines. Am I correct? Well, yes, a Chinese medicine practitioner must. No, I'm trying to clarify it for you. Under the current legislation, for registered medicines, it must be prescribed by a medicine practitioner. Well, for a Chinese medicine retailer, if someone is holding a formula, then that formula must be prescribed by a registered Chinese medicine practitioner. Well, yes, this is exactly what the law says. Well, since we do not have a list of food with medicinal effects, or even if you were giving out almonds or other Chinese herbs without a prescription, you should not be selling this. Am I correct? Well, yes, only a registered Chinese medicine practitioner should come up with such a formula. So we have to let the public know this clearly. Otherwise, without a prescription, no stamp by a Chinese medicine practitioner, then the formula should not be given. Am I correct? If a person holds a formula, then this formula must be given by a registered Chinese medicine practitioner. How about someone who's asking for same herbal medicines without a formula? Then would you give it to you? Well, that's actually the purchasing of medicinal herbs. Well, let's say a person comes to you and asks for medicinal herbs without a prescription. Well, then that consumer is not protected under the law. Let me try to give you a concrete example to make this more clear. First of all, in terms of license, for the retailer license, there are already two categories. One is retailers who could dispense such medicinal herbs, and the other is a retailer selling Schedule 2 herbs. So when a person holds a formula prescribed by a Chinese medicinal practitioner, that person can only acquire these herbs at a registered dispensary. That's very important. Secondly, since the CMCHK has also considered this, that some people may just go to buy certain herbs. So this is what is listed under Schedule 2. It may be ginseng or other commonly used medicinal herbs. As these are commonly used herbs, members of the public can just buy ginseng over the counter. And then there are also seasonal soup concoctions. These could be sold in the dispensaries or even in supermarkets. That there may be prepackaged herbs for cooking seasonal soups. So I just want to make clear that a person holding a prescription must go to a registered pharmacist or dispensary to acquire those herbs. All right, this is clear, but we have to make it clearer that that person can only buy single medicines. That if you are buying ginseng, then you can buy ginseng. If you want another herb, you buy another herb, but you cannot just buy 3 herbs at the same time, because if you buy 3 different types of herbs, then it becomes a concoction. It requires a prescription. Well, thank you for your question. We have listed this very clearly in under a retailer's legislation. We advise the public to first seek advice from Chinese medicine practitioner before purchasing medicinal herbs. Thank you. Now it makes it clear. Mr. Alex Fan, thank you. Well, everyone is very concerned with regulation and legislation, and I thank the administration for the clarification. I'd like to thank the DH for its work in the development of Chinese herbal medicines. I have a question on GMP. In para 14, we see that manufacturing processes of PCMs must comply with GMP requirements for pharmaceutical products. But then in para 3, we see that there are 21 manufacturers who have been issued the GMP certificate. So that's only a very small percentage, not even 9%. And this is all done on a voluntary basis. I want to ask whether you have assessed this relatively low GMP coverage. The majority of manufacturers have not gone through this streamlined procedure. Do you have a requirement such as saying that these medicines need to obtain GMP certification within a certain period of time? Otherwise, they will not be given their licenses. What measures are being taken to ensure that those without GMP certificates would not be allowed to enter the mainland market? Thank you for your question. Well, only a very small number of manufacturers have achieved the GMP status at the moment. They must decide based on their own business model whether to apply for these streamlined procedures to enter the mainland market. We have made this very clear in our blueprint that we are going to push forward GMP certificates. There are a few points that we're especially concerned with, such as talent cultivation, factory development, etc. The DH will via different formats continue to support the industry. We will collect opinions and then within a certain period of time let the sector know. The ITC and have tried to understand the requirements of the GMP. Before we make this mandatory, we are going to try our best to help the sector achieve this standard. We would consider the sector's comments to set up a timetable as soon as possible.
好，多謝主席。
Next, Mr. Andrew Fan. Well, the Undersecretary mentioned that under one country, two systems, we enjoy unique advantages. We have the motherland's backing. We're connected to the world. So it is an ideal place for CM practitioners. Now, we have been staying up late watching the World Cup, and then we're all familiar with this herbal tea brand of the mainland. There is a Chinese celebrity being the presenter of this herbal tea product to promote the product to the world. Now we're discussing facilitation measures to promote trading and promotion of testing, technologies and standards, and that when it comes to the standards and quality of CMs, immediately people will think of Hong Kong, China. But, well, I support what's mentioned in the paper. But when it comes to building the ecosystem and promoting Chinese medicines to the world, holding international conferences, developing tourism products, etc., what is the government's plan? And the Secretary, I thank Mr. Fan for the questions. Now, you talked about using a celebrity to promote a certain product. Now, we have given you a thought, but what we do now is we use the 3 letters HKC to promote our brand. And that is, HKC represents quality assurance. And we'll step up our efforts. We're going to do it on multiple fronts. For example, on standards, especially on R&D, we encourage enterprises to make good use of the GBA International Clinical Trial Institute at the Loop for the development as well as clinical trials of CMs, leveraging on the GBA population. We can enhance our quality and build our brand. Now, for the platform, we have been holding a lot of international conferences or regional conferences. They are very high quality. In fact, in December, we successfully hosted the 7th GBA Conference on the Inheritance, Innovation, Development of TCM. We pulled together experts from the mainland, overseas, as well as local ones, so that we can tell them good stories of Hong Kong, about Chinese medicines, and we can also help tap the mainland and overseas market. For the other markets to know more about Hong Kong PCM products, and we'll continue to make use of this high-level, high-quality, internationally recognized platform to promote our products. Ms. Michelle Tang, thank you, Chair. In 2003, the CMB drew reference from the WHO guidelines and drew up the GMP guidelines. As mentioned by Mr. Fan, as of May this year, of the 265 manufacturers of PCMs, only 21 have been issued a certificate for manufacturer. That's less than 10%. In order to fully implement GMP, we need the manufacturers to follow strictly the QAs and QC standards. I'm concerned whether you have sufficient manpower to grant approvals, because even for Western medicine, as I understand, the Department of Health is short of manpower to inspect factories. So I'm concerned for Chinese medicine, whether likewise you experience manpower crunch. Has the government conducted any manpower projection? That is, in order to fully implement GMPs, how many more staff do we need to implement QA and QC and other professional managerial positions? And does it mean that you will collaborate with tertiary institutions or R&D institutions to organize more training courses for students as well as in-service practitioners? And the Secretary, the member has correctly pointed out that some GMP manufacturers are not meeting the requirements yet. In our consultation process, we are aware of the concerns of the industry, be it capital requirement, location of factories, manufacturing and testing technologies, talent, training, etc. These are matters of their concern. The Department of Health will continue to provide suitable technical and funding support on talent training, dissemination of information, etc. Now, talent is important. In 2021-2023, according to data, we collected data to get a better understanding of the workforce in the industry. For example, when it comes to PCM manufacturing, export, import, trading, wholesale, retail, I can tell you that between 2021 to 2023, respectively, there were 9,600, 9,700, 9,800 people working in the industry in these areas. So I thank members for your suggestions. We do work with universities and other training institutions. First, we need to understand the core competency requirements of the industry, that is, since it covers many fields. And then we provide training on practical needs. But do you have sufficient manpower within the government to grant approvals? Because you need to vet applications in relation to factories and other matters. I am concerned whether you have sufficient manpower within the government. I'll give the floor to the Department of Health. For GMP checking, we have an internal training mechanism for GMP examiners. The bottleneck in relation to the number of GMP certificates hasn't to do with the checking for licensing. In fact, we have colleagues spending quite a lot of time to provide training for the industry and provide advisory service. Last member to speak, that's me. I have two questions about Hong Kong brand. In the market, there are lots of counterfeit PCMs and non-genuine PCMs, and they tarnish the brand of Hong Kong PCMs. The government proposes to amend the law, to amend the definition and step up regulation. My question is about the progress. Roughly when will this take place? And then there are members of the public who are not discerning. They don't know whether it's genuine PCMs or not. Some buyers are duped. My question is whether the government will step up publicity and education to raise public awareness about the registration system for PCMs in Hong Kong, and that when they buy PCMs, they should check for the serial number starting with HKC on the packaging of the product to ensure safety and efficacy. My other question is about talent training. In mainland Macau and even Australia, they have set up a registration system for CM pharmacists. Whereas in Hong Kong, as pointed out in paragraph 11 of the paper, back in 2001, the Baptist University already started the first UGC-funded bachelor's degree course on the program of pharmacy in CM. And we have nurtured a lot of talents in this regard, but we have yet to set up a registration system for pharmacists in CM. So my question is whether you will step up liaison with the industry so as to implement a certification or accreditation system for CM pharmacists in Hong Kong. And then according to paragraph 16 of the paper, the government will encourage enterprises of the industry to make use of the GBA ICTI as the platform for collaboration and R&D. I think this is crucial to inheritance and innovation in CM. But my question is whether any enterprise or institution has made use of this platform to conduct R&D on CM. If so, please tell me the details. Are there specific measures as incentives to encourage enterprises to make use of the resources at the loop? I will answer the first question. As for the second and third question, I will ask Commissioner to take them. Now, the first one relates to the timetable. The Chinese Medicines Ordinance was enacted in 1999. It's been over 20 years. Our plan is to set up the Hong Kong CMPR in the end of 2026. By then, the supervisory or regulatory function of the CMB of CMCHK will be taken over by the CMPR. We also understand that the functions of pharmacists in CM have expanded in scope. We plan to amend the definition of PCMs first, including setting the unit for CM granules, and then once everything is ready, we will conduct a comprehensive review on the regulatory system for CM practitioners. So upon the establishment of the CMPR, we will conduct consultation, and then we will table a bill into the council so that in an orderly manner we can update the regulatory framework for Chinese medicine. A brief response is all I need. I'd like to respond to this question on CM pharmacists. As mentioned by Dr. Mack and Mr. Law, we have a licensing regime for retailers and wholesalers of CM. This is the starting point for talents in the CM industry. As mentioned by other members, when it comes to dispensing Chinese medicines, we need suitable or fit and proper dispensers to dispense CMs on the basis of the practitioner's prescription. So we need to consider, for example, the qualifications requirement for the dispenser, the deputies, and the relevant risks. So that means we need to conduct a research first, and then on this basis we will strive to optimize the arrangement, and we'll make use of the CM Development Fund to run training courses so that we build the talent pool, and then we will take it step by step and review the regulatory arrangements. But on the whole, we take a risk-based approach. One way to go by it is to work on the licensing mechanism for CM retailers or wholesalers. The other way may be to organize accredited courses. And another alternative could be a framework for voluntary compliance by the industry. So when it comes to that stage, we will kickstart the discussion on professional development of the industry as well. We have an advisory structure, and we conduct consultation to consider professional development as well as regulation of the industry. But that's just about Chinese medicines. We also need to consider, for example, the GMP aspect, what personnel are involved, and whether we should make it mandatory progressively, and what are the requirements for different GMP positions. Likewise, we'll make use of the fund to support the development. Finally, I'd like to explain about the Clinical Trial Institute of the CMHHK Phase 1 as well as the Greater Bay Area International Clinical Trial Institute, GPA-ICTI. In fact, just in the past weekend, we held an international summit. Agreements have been signed between institutions in the mainland and the government. In these mainland institutions, there are lots of professionals who are experienced and dedicated. So in the future, if we could continue with R&D of the CMs here and have them registered in Hong Kong, then we'll be able to use quality CMs in Hong Kong. So we should make good use of this research platform so that in the future these products will be made available for Hong Kong citizens. We start with clinical research. As for concoctions in the mainland, if CM practitioners in the CMHHK require the use of concoctions prepared in the mainland, then the CM practitioner can ask the registered manufacturer to prepare the concoction in the mainland, but only that this should only apply to the patient that the CMP is then treating.
Thank you for your explanation, but I would like to follow up because many of the members are concerned about the Chinese medicine practitioner. Currently, under the nomination system, there are many different systems. As you say that there are different requirements for the GMP, for the manufacturing factories. Well, let me first declare that I am actually a member of the committee under the Baptist University on Chinese medicine. Well, so when you have a nomination system, if you're not able to have a formal or a registered medicine practitioner status to those people, then it's not unfair. You can give them training, but some of them do not necessarily need such training. Can you help registration on different groups and categories of people, because some may need registration, for example, for pharmacists or those who work in dispensaries, because many of the graduates have worked for quite many years, and yet they still do not get the registration, but they still are not qualified enough. We do understand that registration is very important. We do need to strike a balance. I have a suggestion for you. If you can first amend the current legislation to add in a regulatory mechanism that for those who are veterans and have many years of experience, that will be beneficial to the regulation of the Chinese medicine industry. Well, we now have a second round of questions. We have Ms. Chen Hoyan. I'm sorry, I was out for another meeting. If I'm repeating the question, please let me know. Well, in my first round of question, I asked about the CHM regulation, and now I'd like to ask about how we are going to go global. The paper said that we're going to use the Go Global window to promote high-quality PCMs to go global. I would like to ask about the acceptance internationally. Let's say for Western medicine, some of them have to go through a second level of approval. Do some countries also adopt the same method for Chinese medicines. Or for example, if this medicine is already registered in Hong Kong, then they know that it's already a level of approval. And we always say we need to go global and promote global expansion. We don't want it to just be a slogan. There must be a concrete plan. For example, you can say, oh, in the second half of year, we are going to be involved in some international conference or something, or plan to promote Hong Kong PCMs. How are we going to really promote CM's global expansion? What kind of level of internationalization are you talking about? And the Secretary, thank you, Ms. Chan, for your question. DH will also tell you more about the details of how we approve Chinese medicine. The Chinese Medicine Office has always been working with the WHO and working with the different NMPA and also IRCHA to work in the standardization of Chinese medicine. But I can also defer to the DH for the latest achievements. Thank you, Chairman. In relation to PCM regulation in Hong Kong, we are actually a collaboration center under the WHO for traditional medicine. We work in collaboration with other countries. So under the WHO, we do have a collaborating method to allow Hong Kong to introduce our own PCM system and how we reach international standards. We have also participated in the Western Pacific Regional Forum for the Harmonization of Herbal Medicines. And we have introduced Hong Kong's PCM's registration system to other places. So through these methods, we can let other places know about HKC and that Hong Kong registered PCMs have achieved international standards. Chairman, you talked about the standard and that you want people to know about HKC, but I think if you ask the public what HKC is, do you know any people can tell you what HKC means? Well, people don't even know about this locally. How can you go global? I think we really need to enhance publicity on HKC. We are talking about achieving WHO standards. That's the basic. That's a basic. But now you say you want to promote HKC in Hong Kong. What are some concrete plans you are going to adopt? How much money are you spending? Are you going to open up the Asian market this year? Don't just tell us the WHO standards. You tell us your concrete plans for the upcoming future. Under Secretary or Commissioner. Thank you. Well, there are two parts to Ms. Chan's question. Well, do Hong Kong people know what HKC is? We have already talked about the 7+1 issue. In the future, when we amend the legislation, of course, we would conduct a public awareness campaign to tell people what HKC products are. Under the Chinese Medicine Development Fund, there is a plan to let the sector hold conferences or forums and to conduct a publicity and to raise awareness so that people know what HKC is. So when we amend the legislation, we will at the same time work with the fund to launch related projects. We have actually already done a television API to publicize this. How can we let everyone know about HKC and the regulation? We transitioned from HKP to HKC through many years of hard work. So when you see that there is no more transitional registration, the next step will be publicizing this to the rest of the world. There are many channels in how we can raise awareness. We participate in many global initiatives. Even our office for Chinese medicine or the Chinese Medicine Regulatory Office is under the works with WHO. We have a conference coming up, and we will take this opportunity to let the world know that we have the HKC, and at the end of the year, we're going to also promote HKC to the mainland to invite more companies to register their PCMs in Hong Kong. So on one hand, we are going to introduce more mainland PCMs into Hong Kong, and then to go global, and then to invite PCMs from overseas to come into Hong Kong. We will continue to raise awareness. As many places, including the mainland and Macau, require GMP certification, we must now first work on this to ensure that we can reach this before we go global. Well, we really hope that we can come up with some concrete plans. You're just giving us a general plan on how you're going to publicize this. Well, since you're talking about this development fund, I hope that you should research into how we can really help bring PCMs out into the world. Since you are using this money to go global, non-registered PCMs and non-registered Chinese medicine practitioners should be prohibited from registration. Well, so how are you going to publicize it on TV, on local stations or on mainland stations and channels? How are you going to publicize HKC? You really need to fine-tune the details and come up with a budget. I think that we do need to work on this under our subcommittee. Our commissioner, can you go back and then go back and come up with a paper next time you meet with us? We'll now take a 5-minute break.